Hi, my name is Ashlyn and I'm an artist. Yeah, a lot of these works, I brought these along. This wasn't planned, but these are the works that I started with. I've always done just traditional art, and it wasn't until a few years ago that I started to do digital art. For the most part, I love to draw women because I work in a male-dominated office and a career field, in STEM. So for me, I love to be able to embrace the sensuality and the femininity, and it's exciting. And I try to do, initially what kicked this all off was I took all the constellations, I read their stories, and then I tried to envision what they would look like. Yeah. And so this was just a fan art of someone I really admire, but this one right here, this is the raven's wing. So that's the constellation, and that's what I imagined she'd look like. And we have Taurus right here. Yeah. So that one is all about like betrayal, because Zeus turned himself into a bull to seduce Europa. And so that's what I imagined her face looked like when she realized she was deceived. Yeah. Thank you. And then, yeah, moving on to these pieces over here, this is what I literally just ripped out of my sketchbook when I first really started drawing. This is my first time actually like sharing any of my art in any capacity. I mean, for my friends, I would put it on Instagram just for fun. And so it's really amazing to see where it all came together. Something that like I've progressed into is I've always drawn people and like their expressions that I would relate to and want to capture that. But it actually wasn't until very recently, like in the past few months, where I started drawing myself, because I feel like that's the hardest thing to do. You're your worst critic. So for me, it was always easy to be like, all right, yeah, it's them. They're feeling those things. Definitely not me. That's crazy. I would never. Yeah, I really like to just play with different skin tones. It's really important to me that I capture diversity in the best way that I can, especially with women. I think like all women are so incredibly beautiful, so they're the easiest, in my opinion, to turn into art. But it's fun to play with like purple hair. I make sure that all my girls have purple hair because I just think it's really cool. Honestly, it's just cool. But having that repetition amongst all of them, I feel like purple's a very versatile color that, I mean, you could do black and white, but I just feel like that's been done before, and you can do so much more using purple. So this is my newest piece. I did this back in August when I was on bed rest with COVID, and I was going through a really difficult breakup. And so my first time really exploring self-portraits. Thank you. It's so cool seeing it like blown up like this. So what I was doing here is it's this feeling of like looking down at everything that's around you. Like I felt like I was in a tight city, and I felt like I was bigger than the city I was in. And because I think sometimes had I just like looked up, I would see how much prettier it is. So sorry.
I love how much purple.
Purple's great. It's funny because people ask me, like, is purple your favorite color? It's actually not. I love yellow. Yellow is such a happy and fun, feel-good color, but purple, it's just, I use that because it's just so versatile.
And purples and blues, like those shades, they go so well together.
Absolutely. And you can just use it in so many ways, but it's still like, yeah, it's a sad picture, but it still feels strong.
Yes.
Purple's a very strong and confident color. So this is my first time really ever showing my art to a group of people and getting to see their reactions in the firsthand. That was really surreal, almost awkward, and feeling like I was naked in front of this group of strangers. It wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a lot more like cool. And then once you have to like look people in the eyes and say, hey, this is me in art form, like that's so hard. I wasn't prepared to get as emotional as I did. That really surprised me. And then once it started, like I just couldn't stop. It was tough. Coming into this, I thought I'd be like, oh yeah, look at this cool thing I did, and then be a lot more upbeat. But I didn't realize how sad and emotional my art pieces were. You know, you don't take the time to think about that often. Generally, I do think my pieces are more on the sad side. But I don't think I do that intentionally. I think it just happens. I feel like that's a lot more relatable. It might be that way because I put on sad music, but I also don't know if they interpreted it as sad or if that's just something I did. I don't know. I didn't go into this with the intention of making sad pieces. I think I did that subconsciously. I think I interpret those not as sad, but I think anytime I look at anything I create, it's difficult for me to create something when I'm feeling really good. I don't know why. It's just when I feel really good, I'm probably not going to be inside. I'm more likely to go and socialize and touch some grass. But yeah, for those in particular, I would say I just wanted to feel strong. And I think those come through. Their questions were phenomenal. And if anything, I think their questions were almost like a lifeline of just like being able to work off of what they were asking and thinking. And it also gave me a lot of personal insight. Like they were asking questions about things I didn't even intentionally put on there. And then I was like, no, absolutely, you have a good eye for those things. Very enlightening. Yeah, so revealing my newest piece for the first time in front of all of these people was very momentous, something that I don't think I could have prepared myself for, because it felt so raw and so vulnerable. When I first created this piece, I was bedridden from COVID. I was able to avoid it for 2 years, and then when I finally got it, it really humbled me. It was hard because I was living alone and I didn't get any help, and it was just, I had nothing but time to think to myself, to feel awful, go through that entire range of emotions. But on top of that, I was also dealing with a failed relationship. I thought for the longest time that you start to think that you have a future with this person.